Good morning, Kingsley community. Pastor Colleen Wehrman here, coming to you with another daily devotion for Tuesday morning, January 3rd, 2023. Yep, new year, using all the best by Turning Points, Dr. David Jeremiah. Today's devotional is entitled Unchanging Love, from Malachi 3, chapter 3, verse 6. For I am the Lord, I do not change. During Operation Iraq Freedom, Lieutenant Kerry H. Cash was chaplain to a battalion of front-line combat Marines. In his memoir, A Table in the Presence, he spoke of praying with his troops. Our prayers were simple, he wrote, but they were exactly what we all needed. We prayed for protection, for courage, for victory, for faith in difficult moments, for the assurance that we were not alone, for help in making tough decisions, for grace to endure, and for strength to overcome. We relied on the power of the Psalms, the will of God, the teachings of Jesus, and the promises of eternal life. We clung to hope, trusted in God's love, and believed in a divine purpose and plan behind it all. Like those Marines, we must trust in God's love and in the divine purpose He has for all our days. God's love for us is unchanging and not dependent on our own actions. Good thing, too. So we can't say, God doesn't love me because I don't feel worthy. God's love for us is unchanging, just like God. He's unchanging. How encouraging to know that God's love for us remains the same even when we make a mistake, when we make a wrong decision, when we think we're not worthy of love. For God never does. God never makes a wrong decision. God never makes a mistake. So we can trust God during life's battles. From Kerry H. Cash, the chaplain who wrote A Table in the Presence, he writes, God never once, even amidst the chaos of war, stopped pursuing our own hearts. So that is good news for today and every day, that God's love is unchanging because God is unchanging. God doesn't change. God has always been the same. He always has been. No one created God. He's been there before anything else. So that's what I got today. So I hope you had a good new year. And our Christmas got, what is that hair doing? Our Christmas got waylaid because of the storm. So it didn't really feel like Christmas still. I don't know what I'm doing with my hair. Oh God, I can't tell. Anyway, it didn't feel like Christmas until just this past weekend when we got a chance to finally celebrate with Laura and Joe and Nicole, and got to go to Grand Rapids, do a little thrifting, and probably too much thrifting. And we found these really cool antique vendor stores where you've got all these little tiny booths in this huge place. And they all have different stuff in them, from antiques to crafts to whatever. And you can just walk down the booths, and then the people there, sell it. And then you go up. But the thing is they do everything by hand. Somebody needs to create a software program for those people, because that's rough. It takes forever for them to peel the sticker off each item for each vendor, for each booth, so they know to give a percentage to that vendor. Anyway, it was fun. We went to 2 of those, so that was kind of cool. Went out to eat, ate too much, and had a good time. So I'm hoping your new year was good. Last Sunday, we redid Christmas Eve because we didn't get a chance to do it during the storm, so we were happy to do that and to really feel the presence of God in the gathered assembly of God's people, which you don't get online. That's one thing you do not get online, is that presence of God amongst the people of God. It's more powerful. So that's why it's so important to make sure that you get to church and you get to know the people of God, because they're the ones that are going to help you anyway. So besides that, we went through the Christmas time, or Christmas season, or Christmas tide, or the 12 days of Christmas, all the same thing. And those are the 12 days beginning December 25th for 7 days, for 12 days. The first 7 are the 7th day we celebrate in the church Jesus being named when he was brought to the temple and given the name Jesus. And then on the 12th day of Christmas, is the Epiphany, when the wise men came. And Epiphany means, aha, a God moment. So think about when you had a God moment. And so we continue through our sermon series, The Carols. And so I'm going to look at Go Tell It on the Mountain, because the story of Christmas obviously doesn't end. It grew up, Christmas grew up, 33 years, lived a life, showed us how to live, love, be compassionate, taught the church how to be the church, died on a cross, resurrected from the dead, and is seated at the right hand of God. And so Christmas, Jesus, who is Christmas, he gave us a command to go and make disciples. So that's what we need to do, is go tell that good news on the mountain. So this Sunday we're going to talk about that, and probably not so much how to do it, but how God used people to do it. And, you know, he started with shepherds, he started with wise men, he started with, you know, doubting carpenter, an unwed teenager, teenage girl, to share the stories of what we have in the Gospels of Christ, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So we know that Matthew and John were both apostles of Christ, and Luke was pretty much a follower of Paul, and Mark pretty much a follower of Peter. And so that's where they gathered their information. But the only one who knows about Jesus's birth, and the only one who knows about Jesus's age of 12 and growing up and all of that, and his time at the foot of the cross, was his mother, Mary. And Apostle John was there as well, and Mary Magdalene. So that's where the stories came from. I mean, you know, Matthew wasn't at the foot of the cross. He would have no idea what Jesus said on the cross. But Mary was, his mother. Mary Magdalene was, and the apostle that Jesus loved, the beloved apostle John. He loved them all, but John just thought he had a special place. Good for you, John. And yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about, is how each one of these people told the story. They went and told it on the mountain. Now, Go Tell It on the Mountain is a spiritual from slaves back long ago, who most of them couldn't read or write. They weren't allowed to, so they had to pass down these songs orally, through oral tradition, and they sang them. And so from plantation to plantation, from African-American churches to African-American, these little tiny little slave churches on the plantation grounds, because of course they couldn't go to the white churches, they had to go to their own church. And so one of those is Go Tell It on the Mountain, probably written by an anonymous slave, and then kind of made famous in a book from John Wesley Folk, not John Wesley, the founder of Methodism, but named after John Wesley Folk. And so Junior, actually, and he was a director, choir director, and so he put it together in a book, and one of those spirituals that the slaves sang was Go Tell It on the Mountain. And it's all about how the shepherds were the first ones to go and tell it on the mountain, go and tell the gospel story on the mountain about Jesus's birth. And so we're to do the same, how Christmas doesn't stop, just keeps going. So I'm not sure how that's going to all play out, because I haven't written it yet. But anyway, that's what I'm thinking. And then after that, we're going to look at the miracles of Jesus. And in February, I'm going to start a sermon series, or not a sermon series, I'm going to start a small group on Wednesdays at 6 using The Chosen Season 2. So we're going to look at The Chosen Season 2. And I don't know, hopefully they've got a CD where we can play little clips of the seasons that go along with the Bible study. And it has a little Bible study book and everything. So that's going to be in person at the church at 6 o'clock on Wednesdays. So if you want to join me there, that'll start, I don't even have a calendar. The first Wednesday in February, I think it's the 3rd. Oh, wait, I do have a calendar. This handy dandy watch. Let's look here. Oh, well, that doesn't help me. It doesn't show me the whole month. I'd have to go all the way through the month of January. I'm not going to do that. So anyway, it's the first Wednesday of February, and I'll be doing a Bible study on The Chosen, Season 2. right here at the church. So if you want to join, please do. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day.